This is like just my bootleg setup from. This is how close we need to be to the computer to get going.
Right on.
But anyway, welcome everybody to a new episode of Gig Pray Love. I am, of course, your host. I've got a little bit of a head cold again, or maybe it's just allergies from my cat. But welcome back. We have here today a very fabulous person who makes really great music, is just super uplifting to the music community in Chicago, among other things, and I would like for them to introduce themselves in their own words.
Yo, I go by the name of Boys versus Girls, and I'm very excited to be here. So.
Very excited as well to have you.
Yeah.
And have you listened to any episodes of the show before? You know, kind of know how this goes?
Yes, I've heard an episode or two, so I kind of know how this is.
Well, we've only got 4.
Person, so let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it. We'll jump right in. Like, can you kind of describe to the listeners, like, how did Boys versus Girls come about as like an identity or as just a pseudonym or something like that? And kind of, can you talk about your coming up time?
Yeah. So I started Boys versus Girls in 2013 after I had a punk band that didn't really work out because we were just really bad. And and so one day I was in my bedroom and I was like, okay, I want to think of like the ultimate pop project. And this will be like my last thing I'll do with music. And then after that, I don't want to do music again. And I was watching some anime and then the name just kind of popped in my head.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Interesting. So what was do you mind if I ask, what was the name of the punk band before?
I hope you're not listening to this, Chris, because you know I love you still so much. The Good Die Young was the name of the band.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar. I was in a band that was performing around that time, so I was just checking to see.
I'm glad you're not. Many people are not familiar, and I'm happy about that.
Well, you know, I'm sure it couldn't have been all bad. You know, every road leads somewhere, right?
Facts. This is true.
Yeah.
This is true.
So, you've been doing this project since 2013, and your SoundCloud tracks kind of only go back to like 2016-ish, 2017. Is that right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, not that that's a bad thing or anything. I've just been checking them out, and the one that I've been playing over and over is the one that I see the most. Is it's a 10-track album. It's got a drawing of you on the front. It's orange.
Oh, the Death to the Dinosaur thing.
Yes,
album?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Is there a volume 2 coming?
So I'm coming out with a new album relatively soon, which was originally supposed to be volume 2 of that, but now I feel like this album it's taken on its own identity, so it has no relation to that. So at this point, I have no plans for a volume 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kind of like reverse Star Wars, where they started with number 4 and then went 4, 5, and 6, and then back to 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So what kind of groups do you perform with normally? Like, I know you've been throwing your own shows a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So like, what kind of, like, where do you get your idea for like lining up bills and all that jazz?
For me, because like I've been in the Chicago underground scene, I guess, for like literally like 10 years now.
Mm-hmm.
And so like during that time, I've just been exposed to so many different types of genres and different types of artists. And so for me, when I put on my own shows, I like a diverse bill.
Mm-hmm.
Because I listen to so many different types of music. So like I want like a rock band, I want a hip hop act, I want R&B, I want pop, because I literally listen to everything.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, because like I played shows with metal bands, I played shows with like punk bands, I played shows with, you know, drill rappers, so I don't know, I just really strongly believe in diversity, so that's what I try to do with my own shows.
Definitely. I mean, the lineup for your costume party / Halloween show is epic.
Yeah, I'm excited about it.
Yeah, it's huge, man.
Yeah.
Like, do you want to give any shout outs to people real quick on the list?
Yeah, shout out to Mikey Everything, who's been doing these Pride shows with me since I started doing these Pride shows back in March of this year.
Mm-hmm. That
shout
was
out
at the Promontory, right?
No. So that was another
the
one. So
one.
the first one was at the Gallery Cabaret, and then we did the one at the Promontory.
Right.
But Mikey, he's just like such a dope person. He's always been involved since day one. And he's always believed in it since day one. So
For sure.
yeah.
Nice. I find, I mean, as a white boy rapper, it's weird to talk about certain artistic pursuits with certain members of your family. Not even like worrying what they think about it, but more trying to figure out a way to help them understand it and like the drive behind it.
Yeah.
And like, how's your family about like, or your like group of your chosen family, your tight friends, like how?
Yeah. So it's I think it's similar with almost all artists, even if it's not music related. When you choose to be an artist, I think people who are not a part of that, they look at you kind of like, isn't this kind of like a hobby? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Right,
this
yeah.
seems kind of like not realistic. For me though, it's like I've always been the kind of person that I believe in like doing what I want, and then people will eventually catch on.
Yeah.
So for me, it's like I never really worried about what family thought, to be honest with you. Like, my friends support what I'm doing. My partner supports what I'm doing. My cousin, who I'm very close to, supports what I'm doing. But even if they were not, I'm the kind of person where it's like, I genuinely believe in what I'm doing.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I feel like the rest of the world will catch on.
For sure. Yeah. No, I mean, it's a good attitude to have.
Yeah, it takes a long time to get there.
Definitely. I mean, speaking on literally doing what you want, you mentioned a couple of weeks ago on Facebook that you took time off from music.
Yeah.
And you spent that time, wasn't it writing and illustrating children's books?
Yeah, it was actually. Because, so besides music, I've always just been drawn to anything artistic since I was a kid.
Sure.
And I used to write little stories when I was like 9 years old. And like, I think it was like 2014 or something around that time. I was like, you know what, I want to get back into writing books. And so I started writing and illustrating children books. And it was really, really fun. And I realized in the future something I want to do more of. Because like with this project, I don't see myself doing this project forever, and I don't want to. It's not even created for that reason. So like, maybe when I'm older, I want to be able to just like write books and have a kid, and
Yeah, and then you have like this proven concept from when you started.
Yeah, totally.
You can say this is how this book did, and also here's a perfect example of like my drawing style and my themes and all
exactly.
that stuff. Yeah, it's great. It's really interesting. It was interesting to me to like see that, like, because I mean, I assume you did it while having a full-time job also.
Yeah. Like anything I've done artistically, I've always had pretty much a full-time job at the same time.
Yeah.
So I just kind of learned to work around it.
You must be really good at budgeting your time.
Yes, I am. That's why people. It's so funny. Like, I think people assume that I'm like out all the time and I'm partying, and like I'm a really, really boring person for the most part. When I'm not at work or at the gym, I'm usually at home creating or just like chilling with my partner. And I occasionally might go out, but I'm just so addicted to creating and art, and just like understanding I'm not going to be able to be here forever. So I just want to create as much as I possibly can while I can. So
Right. Yeah. Again, great,
yeah.
great outlook.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome. I like had some time of my own in a band. I was in this group that started when I was about 21, 22. And I just realized that our 10-year anniversary was coming up, and it's a crazy thing to think about, like the friendships and other like just music scene connections like that you have. Like I have a guy friend named Andre. He used to go around as a rapper by the name of Augie the Ninth. And it's his birthday, August 9th. But
nice.
So he's super great, and he's also incredibly friendly. And literally, I remember walking through Wicker Park Fest with him, and he was stopping to say hello to people about every 10 feet or so.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of like that sometimes. If you're at a party with that, like inside your scene, you just see people that you've seen out for like 10, 15
Oh,
years.
yeah. It's like, it becomes like an extended family. Like,
It really does. And
really
like some
does.
people, it's like the family members at the party you don't really talk to. You just kind of see, and you're like, oh, hey, hi, kiss on the cheek, see. Yeah.
Yeah.
To see ya.
Yeah. There's definitely that. For
Yeah.
sure.
Going back to the whole job thing, what like 2013 to now is a pretty long time span that you haven't been with the same kind of work the whole time, right? You've had to move around and like, weren't you doing like catering, serving for a little while, or am I misremembering?
I kind of used to do that. But I've had every job known to man in between that time. I used to be a door-to-door guy. I would like try to sell people on gas.
Mm-hmm.
I've worked in retail. I've worked in hospitality. Like I literally have had every kind of job you can pretty much think of. So,
What was your favorite industry to work in?
honestly,
The one you hated the least.
yes, I was going to say really honestly, all of them I despise, but I think hospitality, just because usually, at least for me at least, it was a much more low key than retail, and the people that I've got to meet during hospitality have literally become some of my best friends. So
Yeah.
yeah, hospitality. I don't know. I don't really have to deal with a lot of people, so I like that aspect of it.
You must be in a special niche part of that in the hospitality
Oh
industry.
yeah, oh yes, 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 yes. It is. I'm very happy about that.
You share your stuff with your folks at your job.
Yeah, I've had plenty of time. Coworkers have come out to shows of mine, and they're usually very surprised because the way that I carry myself at work and then the way that I perform is like a completely different person. So, but yeah,
That's good stuff. And so I assume you're getting a positive reception on it.
yeah, I am. Like usually, like I said, my coworkers are usually very surprised. Just like, oh wow, the way that you talk and the way that you like rap and sound is like completely different. But they get a kick out of it, and yeah, it's fun.
Do you take inspiration from everyday life? Like, are you almost performing as a character when you're on stage, or are you just a like larger, like metaphorically larger version of yourself?
Yeah, I think maybe a larger version of myself, or just like another version of myself.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we all have like different aspects of who we are. It doesn't make you less of who you are. It's just like, oh, this is just another aspect of
Right.
you.
Yeah, definitely.
So that's how I feel when I'm on stage. I never feel like I have to play a character. I'm just myself.
Right. And you're just
Crazy.
comfortable the second you hit the stage.
Yeah,
At
now
least from what I've seen.
Yeah, oh yes. Now I am. In the beginning, definitely not. One of my first shows, I was so paranoid. I didn't look at the audience at all.
Mm.
I was playing guitar for only like 3 months during that time.
Oh yeah.
Wow. And I remember literally shaking on stage, and I just felt so embarrassed. Like I was a very different person for many different reasons at that time. But yeah, I was not comfortable on stage during then.
Had the same kind of thing
Yeah.
to me in high school. Yeah. Definitely. Just that like that you can do what you're there to do, but you just feel just this heavy discomfort.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a good time. I think he was trying to play Red Hot Chili Peppers at a talent show or something. But I've just found that going back to planning, you have to be on the ball, like just in terms of your social media game is on point.
Thank you.
You post multiple times a day, like new photos and stuff like that. You have like a Spider-Man outfit that I've seen a few times, and like you're not afraid to show off like the beach body and stuff like that. Like you're taking a path that a lot of people that are international kind of just do on a daily basis. Was that conscious? Did you kind of base your Instagram or your social media style off of a particular person that you follow or someone who you admire?
Not a particular person, but last year I deleted my Facebook account, and I wasn't too active on social media. So during that time, I decided to just study social media, like study it in a very serious way. And I started watching people like Gary Vaynerchuk, and there's this other YouTuber named Roberto Blake. And like literally everything I do on social media, I've learned from them. And I started thinking of myself of just like, okay, I can either approach this as just like an everyday regular person where it's like, oh, I'm at the grocery store. Or I can be like, okay, this is my platform. Let me like create something that will actually help, spread the word about my art and like what I want to actually do. Because for me, I feel like people who I'm like very, 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 very close to, they know me personally. They know what I'm about. They know who I am. I don't feel like I need to use social media to always share those moments. Um, but I strongly believe in social media, and I know for a fact it's so powerful. Like including you, like I've met people literally through social media.
Yeah, definitely.
You know what I mean? So
it's kind of reached out. I mean, I'd been looking at your music, and then you mentioned that a video you had hit like 10,000 plays in 4 days, and I was just like, aha.
Yeah, yeah. On Instagram,
Boop. Yeah. That, like, you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So that was for a music video and a song called Demons, which is going to be off of the new album, which hopefully will come out in the next few weeks. We'll see.
Oh, wow.
We'll see. We're supposed to record this Saturday, but we'll see what happens.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So before I shot the music video, I released the single. Just put it out there on SoundCloud and Spotify.
Yeah.
And it did pretty okay. I got a pretty good response from it. Actually, I got a very good response from it. So then I decided to shoot the music video for it. I ran some ads for it. And within 4 days of running ads, because I know what I'm doing, it got like over 10,000 views. Yeah. So I was very, very happy with that.
Was that through any particular like plan, or just kind of happened that way, or did you drive people in from a specific spot? Yeah,
so like anything that I do, especially on social media, I always think of like 6 steps ahead, or like I think from every perspective. And with that, I targeted a certain audience that I knew would probably connect with the song, and that's what I try to tell my other artist friends is like, when you promote your music or when you advertise or run an ad on social media, don't just put it to everyone, because everyone's not going to like your art. Like, your music is for a certain type of person. So once you figure that out, you just need to target those people. And that's basically what I did with that. I was kind of surprised, but not really at the same time, because I'm just getting better and better at understanding how marketing works.
Yeah.
So I kind of figured that it was going to do okay.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a very good point to, I mean, educate yourself is so basic, but it really is.
It makes a difference. That's why it's like I try to tell artists, specifically artists, like, don't just post a link to like your stuff. Like, you need to, and I agree with Gary Vaynerchuk on this. Like, you need to create value for people and like create a world, a community, like create a culture around your music. Like, okay, here's your song, but what are you about? What are the ideas about? And then like create something based upon that, and that's how you draw people in. You give people value, and then they are almost naturally inclined to want to know who you are. You know what I mean? So
right.
That's how it went for me. That's why everything that's happening right now is kind of just like, yes, is like the hard work paid off.
Yeah, so. Definitely. It's great to see the numbers climb.
Yeah, it is. It's really cool.
So do you? How let's go on. You've been talking about stuff from the new album. Let's talk a little bit about the new album. You've made posts on Facebook and stuff, but I want to hear you kind of describe it in person.
Yeah,
like where your inspiration for it, and if you did the art for it too, right? Or did you?
No. So a friend of mine, I'm not that talented, but a friend of mine, he did the art, and actually he's doing a trailer for it right now as we speak.
Oh, nice.
So we're gonna have a little trailer release soon.
Awesome.
Yeah, but first the inspiration. So like, as I said, I grew up listening to so many different types of music, and like most teenagers in the 2000s, I went through a heavy emo phase.
Okay.
And so for this album, a lot of those emo bands that I grew up listening to really influenced this album a lot. That's why I keep telling people, like, it's not really a hip hop album, because it's kind of like, when you hear the songs, you see what I'm saying. It's really not.
Okay.
So for me, like, it's influenced by bands like Taking Back Sunday, Thursday, My Chemical Romance, Saves the Day, just like all of that kind of.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And it's just like, for me personally, I feel like this is the best work that I've put out so far. Like, I'm really excited to share it.
And you play guitar on it as well, or?
No. So these are all beats, but there's a lot of like guitar samples in almost every song. There's like a guitar sample.
Mm-hmm.
But then the subject matter also is very, I guess you can say, quote unquote, emo, because it deals with a lot with like depression and anxiety and just really my personal life and or really my past, uh, toxic family members. It's a really like sad album, but like it's good at the same time.
Well, yeah,
you know?
sad doesn't mean a bad thing.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
I mean, and I've always found that it's this weird thing for pop songs. If you have a sad melody, you have to have happy lyrics. If you have happy melody, you have to have like the saddest lyrics ever.
And I mean, you really just described what Boys versus Girls basically is, and that's what I feel like I did with this project. It's like, yeah, you can kind of like dance to it, kind of vibe out to it. When you actually listen to the lyrics, it's like heavy stuff. It's stuff that I didn't really feel comfortable ever talking about until really now, because I'm at a certain place in my life where it's just I'm very comfortable with who I am as a person,
right?
And I feel like a lot of people can relate to my story in some way.
Yeah, and that's another important point is that you write relatable music that could be put on the radio, but will definitely be in someone's like this is my like hype myself up playlist or something.
Yeah.
People who have been focusing on the Chicago scene, like didn't you said you got into an Uber the other day and the driver knew who you were.
Yeah, that was, oh my God, that was such a crazy day that like legit blew my mind. He was so happy. Yeah.
It's good stuff. Do you like, is that the first of the encounters like that or?
No, not even like I don't know what it is this year that's kind of just been happening. I was at a club with my friend and we were dancing and these couple of kids came up to me. We're like, oh my gosh, I've seen you at a show, your Boys versus Girls. Like I've been to some of your shows. I was like, in my mind, I'm like, I don't know who you are, but thank you so much. Like, yeah. So it's happened a few times. It happened at when I was like grocery shopping.
Okay.
As well. Like it's been just happening more and more this year. And it's made me realize I'm like, oh, maybe people are paying attention to what I'm doing way more than, I assumed. So
yeah, I mean your play counts are up in the tens of thousands, if not up near 100,000 now, aren't they?
Yeah, on different platforms. Like this platform called Audio Mac, which I never even heard of till I started posting music on there. That's like over.
That's a mixtape website.
Yeah. I have about over 100,000 plays or something like that right now. On that. Yeah, I don't even know how that happened, to be honest with you, because like I just like consistently drop stuff, but I didn't really like promote anything on there. I just kept dropping stuff, and yeah, I don't know, it just kind of caught on. So
it'd be interesting to see the analytics for that. Like, I'm sure that they exist somewhere. Like, what drove the traffic to Audio Mac, or was it like this is the album of the week sort of thing?
That's what I want to know, because I tried to look into that. They don't really seem to have a good system for that right now.
Gotcha.
But I would definitely like to know so I can learn from it and use it. Because you got to
keep tabs on that.
Yeah,
stuff.
exactly.
Like it only helps you direct the air traffic, I guess.
Yeah.
Better.
Yeah.
So we've gone through a few topics here. Let me get back to the outline. Sorry, dear listeners. The events that you throw are, I mean, I haven't seen like a sponsor listed. Is that like you just know that you work something out with the venue owner? Do you ever have like people reaching out to you for sponsorship? Do you see yourself reaching out to someone else for sponsorship?
So far as the venues, it really just came down to me like kind of knowing people and kind of like playing some of these venues for a long time. Like with the Gallery Cabaret, I used to play their open mics for like years and years and years.
Gotcha.
So I built a relationship with them, and to me, they're one of the most like progressive kind of open-minded venues in Chicago. So other than that, I don't feel like any sponsors have reached out to me. It's something that I'm open to. It's something that I would do as well. But as of right now, it's just kind of been people I've known for years and just kind of.
You did it the old-fashioned way.
Yeah. Actually,
you had to hit that pavement.
Yeah. Just like genuine friendships, and when I hit the gallery up about this idea, they were so on board. They're like, "Oh my god, yes, you can do this Saturday or whatever." And it I didn't know that it was going to be as like successful as it became, but yeah, they were right on board from day one.
It seems like a cool venue. They're also like way on top of their social media game. There's so many
Yeah.
venues and stuff like that that will either like have a page running saying they're open and they've been shut down indefinitely, or you know, that's just the lowest of the low. But then you see Gallery Cabaret, like they post a schedule every month and all that stuff. They really do want to get people out to take in this art that they like to put on. And it's just a teeny tiny little place tucked up in what is that, Bucktown?
In Bucktown, and the thing that's magical, I think, is because they've been able to stay relevant for so long, because I think they do embrace new ideas, and they're not so, because you get a lot of these other older establishments who are just very like stuck in the past. Just even what you just said about social media, they try to stay on top of that and like, you know, stay on top of this is what you do to promote your business right now. You know, so
growing and changing with the times.
Yeah, and that's what I always appreciated about them. They're not stuck in, I don't know, 40 years ago or whatever. So
yeah, it's important for, I mean, businesses, artists, you know, whoever, to stay on top of that stuff, because if you're not promoting yourself using a free service that reaches out to millions of people prospectively, what are you using and why are you paying for it?
Yeah, I totally agree. I couldn't agree more. Again, that's why I tell people like social media it's so powerful once you learn how to use it.
I mean, as much as it hurts to have them steal our private info and all that, but
yeah, exactly. Yes, like everything, there's a dark side to it for sure. For sure, a lot of dark sides to social media. But I don't know, it's still something I strongly believe in, and it's something I enjoy, and I've met a lot of cool people because of it. So.
Yeah, definitely. I have to say I'm a fan too. I've moved into doing just kind of basic email blast marketing for a couple little spots and just little mom and pop joints, and it's it is like strangely exciting to like go back and check the analytics. Like, how did I do?
Yeah. Because you learn and you get better with time, and
yeah,
it just makes, you know, the next thing that much more likely to be successful as a result. So
that, or my expectations are just way too low. Like, you know, being able to see like, oh, I have this many clicks. That's the industry standard plus. Like, yeah, I did it.
No, any achievement you should be proud of. I don't think, you know, there's nothing wrong with that. Even if I get like 5 plays on a song, I'm like, all right, at least 5 people checked it out. That's something, whatever.
Yeah. I mean, this podcast here has been getting about 1 play a day. I don't spend like a ton of money boosting my ads or anything, and I only do it for a couple weeks per episode, but somehow, I don't know what it was. Maybe it was the fact that the guy we had on was the guy that I had on was a karaoke guy, and he's like friends with, again, all these different industry professionals. Like, I hit 600 people, where like the last episode hit around 250, and it was just interesting to kind of like go back and look and say, was it him, was it me, was it the time I posted, was it the day, like
yeah.
Just kind of trying to pick that apart and figure out the inner workings a little bit more. And that's a super nerdy move, and I know that.
With it. No, not at all. No, I tell all artists, like, when it comes to stuff like that, you need to be a scientist of your craft and understand why people are coming to you, so you can learn, get better, improve, and impact more people.
Yeah.
So be as nerdy as possible, because I'm literally, when I'm at home, even when I leave you and I go home, I'm checking my analytics on everything. I do it every single day.
Yeah.
So, and I write things down so then I can learn. So
keeping track of all that stuff.
Yeah, you have to.
Mad important. I don't know. I just looked down at I'm not sure how I used this outline in the past. I'm going to need to update it some more. I looked down at a category and it just says food.
Food. I do love food. I love ramen.
Yeah. You said you had some just before you came over here.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Is that homemade? Is that the...
It was homemade.
Maruchan?
Yes.
Yes.
Classic.
Yes. Yeah, got to go to the Cup Noodle Museum when I was in Japan earlier this year.
Nice.
Very, very cool stuff. Got to make my own cup noodle and take it home.
Right on.
Cheese and shrimp.
Right on.
It was very weird.
I've always wanted to go to Japan. That's like in my bucket list for sure.
Yeah, it's been a popular travel destination the last couple of years. Their flights out there are super cheap. Controversial point, they've started whaling again.
Oh, really?
A lot of people are unhappy with it. And I'm just unhappy that I didn't get to eat any whale meat when I was over there.
Yeah.
I did want to try some. There's,
Well, yeah, you're in Japan. It's like, why not? Like, I'm already here. So,
yeah. When you go, you're gonna have a fantastic time.
I'm excited. Like, just especially Japanese anime was such a huge influence on this project.
Yeah.
From the very beginning. So
there's like a whole district for that in Tokyo.
Oh,
There's
yes,
you know Akihabara. Akihabara, very interesting stuff. You have they have like butler bars too, not just like the little French maid bars. They also have like He-Man butler bars where like they'll pour you a beer and then crush the can on their abs or their forehead or something.
That's
like,
amazing.
Yeah, they're doing it up out there.
Yeah, I can't wait to go to Japan. Hopefully next year I can go to Japan.
Yeah, definitely. I hope you have a good time.
Hell yeah.
But it's very dope.
Yeah.
Very dope. There's never enough time for me when you're going traveling. Like you get out to a country and you finish up your itinerary knowing that it's not going to be enough, and you just go, "I'll come back."
Yeah, it's impossible. It's impossible. So
yeah. Have you been doing any traveling recently? Like, do you ever take any time off?
Honestly, I really know. I really don't even know what time off is. I think the other day, I had like 2 days. Yeah, I had like 2 days off, and I felt so guilty because I'm so used to doing something.
Yeah.
That I literally just sat in my kitchen. It's like, I can just watch Netflix right now.
Yeah.
And like,
this feels wrong.
Yeah. So, yeah, hardly any free time.
Yeah. I also have days like that where I beat myself up for not getting certain things done. Mm-hmm. But you just kind of, I've learned you got to push through.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And like, if you don't take at least 24 hours once in a while to kind of recharge, you're going to go crazy.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Because I've been there. I've overworked myself many times. I've been burnt out many times. And it's like, you're not as productive. Your music isn't as good. It's just, you're not as like, I don't know, a great partner as much as you could be or whatever, a great friend or whatever, so you got to take moments to recharge.
Go home and read a book.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
And a nice book, not like a murder mystery or anything.
No.
Just chill out with the stress and the horror and whatnot. I'm probably just projecting. My girlfriend had made me watch the newest remake of Stephen King's It. And then promptly fell asleep the whole way through and made me watch it by myself.
Oh yeah, oh my gosh, we love that movie. So we're planning to see the new one too. Hopefully this week. We're like huge horror movie people. So
yeah, not so much me.
Really,
more her than me.
Really,
yeah.
I love them. I don't know why. Like I know it's like I'm gonna have nightmares and feel freaked out. I love that. By the way, I'm so distracted.
Oh yeah, yeah. We got
a
little portrait of Prison Mike. Picked it up at the replay pop-up for The Office.
Yeah, that's awesome.
You know that spot? I love that spot.
Yeah.
That's one spot. Like I wish, like I know that they've got a performance license, but I wonder what kind, because I never see live music there.
Yeah.
And I think that it would kill there. Like
hell yes.
The whole like band is on the same level as the crowd kind of thing. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
People are playing pinball 10 feet away.
They should look into that. That would be really
should.
Interesting, actually.
I mean, loving the DJ activities out there.
Yeah.
Of course. I go for karaoke every once in a while on Wednesdays.
Karaoke it's a lot of fun.
So. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Do you have any spots that you go to for that?
Karaoke, I used to go to in Boys Town, this place called Roscoe's. They used to have it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I used to go like I think they had it every Monday. They had like a live band with you, though.
That's the cool part.
Which was really cool. Yeah, I haven't been to a karaoke place really probably in like a year or so. Honestly, because my life is just work and then creating stuff and playing shows. Like, yeah.
You're prioritizing your
I have
your
to.
emotions.
I have to.
Yeah.
I mean, too crazy if I don't. So.
True. And again, going back to the whole like beating up on yourself for not quote unquote taking care of business.
Yeah.
When you really could just have some time to breathe.
Yeah. It's important. That's what I plan to do after I'm done with this album. I'm going to promote the hell out of it, but I think I'm going to chill for like a week or something after
That's
it's
good.
done, because I've been working on it for like the last 9 months, literally.
Have a little honeymoon, but away from the album.
Yeah. I'm kind of just ready to like be done with this now. So we're
Yeah.
getting to that point of the album.
I just finished shooting a music video, and it was my first one with a filmographer who was really, really into like getting as many takes as possible. Like
Yeah.
I did one where we took like 3 takes of one scene, 3 takes of another scene, and then a moving location, and then we were done. The other day, I spent 6 hours just shooting and like doing the same song over and over again, like trying to inject that. Like, where do you dig when you're looking for that showmanship energy?
So with me, like when it comes to doing music videos, when it comes to playing live shows, I mainly studied like rock stars, like a lot, like almost everything that I do on stage, I learned from people like Kurt Cobain, who's like, for me, for stage presence, he's like my number one inspiration. People like Mick Jagger,
Yeah,
Bob
I know
Dylan.
a guy who dances like him.
Yeah, Bob Dylan. Just these like these performers where the passion was like so intense and they were so sincere, and you just like knew you were seeing something like special. You know what I mean? So like,
Yeah.
when I think about myself performing, I always try to think about what kind of band would I want to see. You know,
Kind of like the opposite of every show the Beach Boys ever put on.
yeah.
Standing there motionless with their like suits and stuff. And
Hey, that used to be me. That used to like I said, I had no type of connection with the audience because I was scared of the audience.
Yeah.
And then I learned to stop doing that. But definitely Nirvana. Like I feel like everyone in this generation now is like, oh my god, Nirvana. But I feel like people talk about them for a reason. They really are a band that I learned so much from: songwriting, stage presence, just so many different things. It's
Mhm.
like I will always be obsessed with them. Always.
Yeah. That's a good thing to kind of have like that touchstone for, your own personal, I guess, musical sanity.
Oh
for
yeah,
lack
yeah,
of a
yeah,
better
yeah,
idea.
yeah. Like I said, like one of the main things I learned from just watching interviews of Kurt Cobain is just like he always would emphasize on the idea of just, you don't have to be the most talented. You just have to have like passion and be sincere, kind of understand melody. And I really like in the past couple of years, I feel like I really applied that.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's my biggest inspiration when I'm trying to channel something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Powerful memory. That guy.
Oh yes.
Yeah. No, I mean, just thinking about him. Like, are you familiar with the comic book Preacher?
I don't like know of it, or like I know of it, but I'm not like familiar deeply with the story.
There's a kid who tries to take himself out of the game because of Kurt. Like
Really?
when Kurt does it, yeah, in the comic
Yeah.
book, and he doesn't quite make it.
Yeah,
Like, he
yeah.
misses the vital spots in his brain and just continues to live.
Oh God, no!
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, that's a weird book though.
Yeah.
Not sure how I got onto that topic. Sorry about that.
No, don't be sorry about
Yeah.
that. You talk
So-
about Kurt Cobain, you kind of naturally go into like
The darker
darker
side.
stuff.
Yeah, definitely. Have you like going back into actual talk about music and all that jazz?
Mhm.
Do you have like aside from Nirvana, like what's like your? I saw you post your like top 10 influences, but like
Yeah.
let's do Desert Island Discs.
Oh
Like,
God. Besides Nirvana?
or if they're in there too, what?
Okay.
Of course, I assume they'd be in there.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
How many choices do I have?
Let's do 5, just to keep it so that because I know how this is too. I hate doing these.
Yeah,
I
because
hate
like
it.
there's so many like
There are.
records that mean so much to you, depending on
Absolutely.
like different times in your life. Definitely Nevermind. Even though it's like people, oh, it's so overrated. It's like people talk about it for a reason.
Yeah.
So definitely Nevermind.
Yeah.
Oh my, this is really hard. People always give me drama for this, but I don't care. I'm gonna go with records I've been currently listening to.
Okay.
The 1975, A Brief Inquiry
talking
into
about them a lot.
Online Relationships. I know a lot of people like have their thing against them, but I personally, I love them. I think they're brilliant. 1975, A Brief Inquiry into Online Relationships, long title. Um, Anything by Tupac. It doesn't really matter what it is. No, All Eyes on Me by Tupac.
Okay.
What else? Bob Dylan. What was the record I used to listen to religiously? I think it was a Times Are Changing. It was like, I don't know if it was like an official album, but like it had a lot of his, like all of his old acoustic songs. But I used to be very obsessed with Dylan. I still love Dylan, but mainly his acoustic stuff. So Dylan, early Dylan,
good poet.
Oh yeah, another one person I've learned so much from. I'm on this island by myself, so I can't really like turn up. I guess there's no one to really dance with, so I don't know how to choose a dancing record.
Let's say that your partner's there with you.
Okay, then.
Your two are stranded forever together, though. But like it's a good thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Thank God we get along. What would we dance to? Some 80s soundtrack. I don't even care what it is. Just some like the best of 80s pop music or something.
Billy Joel's been making a real comeback lately.
Yeah, because like oh my god, like my partner, like like when we do go out sometimes, he loves going to like clubs that have like 80s night and all of that kind of side. Yeah, he loves.
Why not?
Yeah, exactly. You're right. You're right. It's a lot of fun. So anything 80s, and then I don't know. I have no idea. My Chemical Romance. Cause I've been listening to MCR like so much in the last 6 months. I'm just like, that was actually a brilliant band. People like slap on that band.
They did.
Because it was like cool. It was like
I was one of those people, but I came around to them.
Yeah, it's like once you get past certain things, it's like, oh, they're actually like really good.
Yeah.
So anything My Chemical Romance, because I enjoy all of their albums for different reasons.
Sure.
Yeah. That was good. That was like hard.
Was that 5? I feel like that was just 4.
Was it?
We got Nirvana. We got Nevermind. You've got some 80s stuff.
Yeah,
you've got Tupac. Oh no, you're
Dylan. Yeah,
Dylan. Okay,
and MCR. Yeah,
you got it. Yeah. Desert Island 5.
Yeah.
No relation to the Jackson 5.
No relation at all.
No relation whatsoever. Yes. So let's talk highlights.
More of this wine.
Oh yeah, dude.
Okay, sorry.
No, absolutely. Let's talk. You can put the mic down.
Okay.
If you want. Let's talk highlights, like the things that recently or in your past, like what any I guess kind of things that you've gone back and reassessed, and you kind of feel like they were almost defining moments.
Yeah, definitely, without a doubt, the Pride events that I've been doing,
of course.
Because it's something I always tell this story, but like it was literally an idea I had inside of my kitchen. I almost didn't even do it, and just to see the reaction people have had, especially for like LGBT artists, I didn't realize that I was doing something that really like made a difference for them.
Yeah, and
that's when I had a moment where I realized, oh wow, I guess my voice actually kind of does matter in this community more so than I thought. And just giving people an opportunity, because like that was one of my biggest frustrations when I moved to Chicago. I just felt like there was really no one who like really. There's a couple of people, but not really a lot of people who gave me opportunities. And I always told myself, I want to create opportunities for someone who needs them. Like I need it when I first came here.
Yeah, the person who's got the strength to ask.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Because at least in my experience here, I feel like a lot of times things can be like high school, very like cliquish.
A little clicky, yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, and I'm really anti that, like genuinely anti. That's why I don't really hang out anywhere or anything, because I don't care about any of that. If I think you're a genuine person and I like your music, then why not give you a chance? It doesn't matter if 5 people know you or 100,000. Like it doesn't matter. So definitely during the Pride events have been one of the best things I've ever done in my life. Like I'm really proud of starting these events.
Right, and they're not like a charity effort. They are you reaching out to people who you've built relationships with and whose art you appreciate, and you're working together to create a new, well, not a new, but a larger and more an orchestral thing. You've got multiple voices promoting. You've got multiple voices adding to the soup.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what I wanted, and I wanted bills that were really diverse, in terms of genre, in terms of just everything. Like, I wanted people to come to shows and be like, "Oh wow, you don't see this every weekend. This isn't like your everyday like house show or whatever." You know what I mean? So that's why I like booking pop acts. I like booking these acts who are not like quote unquote like, I don't know, hipster and cool, or like, nothing against any of that, because like I do like a lot of that stuff too. But how many more like noise rock shows can you go to? Like, there's one almost every week.
Yeah, I did catch flack for a long time. I still do every once in a while. Like, why aren't you out supporting bands in your old scene? It's like, well, because I don't really listen to that much anymore, and also like I'm too broke, and
yeah, it gets a little like, I don't know, it just rubs me the wrong way. So instead of me constantly complaining about like, oh, the scene needs this, I was like, screw it, I'll just do it myself.
Yeah.
And honestly, that's what I've been doing, and it's been really cool just to meet different types of artists, because most of the artists I've booked, I've had no prior relationship with other than social media.
Right.
So it's really kind of interesting to meet people in real life. Even like doing this, it's just really kind of cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, doing the Pride events is something like I'm just so proud of it. Like, I'm genuinely just so proud of it for many reasons.
Any other ones you want? Any other highlights?
Any other like this year, or just in general, or like?
No, in general.
In general, I think just everything I'm doing this year in terms of music and in terms of boys versus girls, and even having people like you, like, just show me so much genuine support, genuine love, genuinely like you're interested in what I'm doing.
You're working.
Yeah, it's just been kind of really nice, because sometimes, and I think you know this as an artist too, sometimes you have those moments where you feel like, am I wasting my time?
Yeah.
Or it just feels like, where's this, at least for me, it's like, where's this all going, kind of thing.
That's an expectation that a lot of people don't really hold for themselves. Like a friend of mine did have to leave his band recently because of that thought process, and not like it's a bad thing. It was good for him because they were toxic as hell. But the ultimate thing was just like, guys, where do you want to take this? Because I want to be gigging and like get money and like grow, and then find fan bases elsewhere than just our friends and family. Like, I want to grow, and they were not looking to change the things they needed to change to make that a possibility.
You see, I admire your friend for that type of honesty, because I feel like, I don't think this is unique to Chicago. I think this is just a lot of underground artists in general.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of times we lack self-awareness, and a lot of times I think we almost feel embarrassed to talk about being ambitious beyond a scene, being ambitious beyond a community. It's almost like, how dare you think that? And
it's been kind of like the basic talking point to get that shot down for as long as that's been a thing. Like, yeah, because of how hard it was back in the day, and still is. It still is, to be honest. But like, admittedly, it's getting easier.
Oh, it is, and that's another thing. I just like, when I hear nonstop complaining, I'm like, do you realize, like, before social media, before the internet, it was virtually impossible for people to really hear your music at all.
Yeah.
Like, at all.
The best you could do was like try and pass out your CDs after a show where a band had played that had a similar sound to your band.
Totally, yeah.
But I mean, I'm just loving that you're doing these mixed bills, because I feel like we're, and pardon me, I'm 31. I'm not sure how old you are, but I grew up in the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater generation.
Yeah.
Where the soundtrack had music from all different kinds of people across it.
And that's the way, because I think that's the way people listen and consume music.
Yeah.
We're moving like in this kind of post-genre almost thing, where it's like, it doesn't matter. Like, if it's good, it's good. And I feel like, especially for this scene, like, the world is so beyond divided right now on so many levels. It's like, book a show with some black kids and some white kids and some Latino kids and some gay kids and some straight kids and some punk kids and some hip-hop kids. Who fucking cares?
Yeah.
I don't know if I can swear. I'm so sorry.
No, you can. Please do.
But it's just like, I just got tired of seeing like people talk about how we need diversity inside the scene, and then those same people, they'll book the same 5 bands in rotation.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And the same type of genre in rotation. So for me, I just like, let me just put on something where it's like your playlist.
Mm-hmm.
Where you can switch from Bob Dylan to like Aretha Franklin to like, I don't know, Beethoven, and not think twice about it.
Right.
That's
yeah.
how people consume.
Because it's just what you're feeling.
Exactly.
And like, who knows? You might come across someone that you never even thought you'd come across.
Exactly, and that's the main reason I did it, because genre. To me, genre is just like kind of irrelevant, because I feel like there's good and bad in every genre.
Mm-hmm.
You probably will find something you connect with.
Yeah,
Even if
definitely.
you hate jazz music, you might find some jazz you might actually like. Same with pop music. Same with metal music. Same with anything.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why it's like it was just important to me, and it still is, to continue. And that's the way I create as well. It's just like I just don't believe in like, this is the sandbox that you have to play in, and you have to stay within these boundaries of this. And how dare you go outside of it? Why not? I want to go outside of it. Like, what's on the other side?
Right, yeah.
You know, like, that's honestly how I approach my life.
Why can't I play with the other kids, Dad?
Exactly. Like, literally. It's like, I don't know. That's just the way I approach art.
So we're getting close to our ending point here, and the way that this usually works is I'll give some lessons and explanations that I've kind of pulled from our conversation, and then I'll ask you to come back with anything that you feel I might have missed, and then after that, it's plugs, and then we're out. Cool. So the thing we touched on much earlier in our conversation when talking about the social media jazz was educate yourself. Make sure that you are educated in whatever you're pursuing. If you are playing a trumpet, learn how to play that trumpet from someone. At least once, at least one private lesson or one group lesson where you watch another human being who is good at what they do show you how to do that. So you can try and follow that, because very few people, and you shouldn't be sad with yourself if you're not one of these people, just have a natural affinity for certain things. It just happens. Mm-hmm. So whether it's social media or athleticism or just plain intelligence, like, educate yourself in whatever you're trying to do, because it'll only help you to push further on your mission. Build your relationships. You mentioned that the folks over at Gallery Cabaret, you did the open mics with them for years and years, and then through that relationship, you were able to kind of leverage a request that, another venue, I know several venues that would not have been interested in hosting, not on any kind of basis, just kind of like, no, you're just an open micer,
Totally.
Beat it, kid.
Yeah.
So, build your relationships, and you're not building them with the express point to kind of leverage something on them, but it's just the way that it works in a good friendship. You do things for them, they do things for you. There's no expectations there. It just happens over and over again, and that's a good friendship.
I agree.
Grow and change, whether with the times or within your own psyche and understanding of the world, and just kind of being more zen and all of that jazz rolled into just be in touch with what's happening in your scene and what's happening with you and your friends and family, so that you can help them or that they can help you, and just be the root system of a tree. Be always reaching out. And finally, create opportunities for others. Again, not with any expectation to get something back from it, but because it's a good thing to do for your scene, for your family, for your friends, for whomever. Did I miss anything?
No, that sums it up. Just
Okay.
Be yourself, work hard, all the cliches, don't give up. That's it.
Pain is weakness leaving the body.
Yes.
All right. So please, if there's anybody that you want to shout out aside from Mikey, everything, I think.
Just shout out to everybody who's been showing me love. Shout out to Kahari. Shout out to Beyonce Max Joe. Shout out to the love of my life, Lee Namu. I don't know. Shout out to everyone who's just been showing me love in the community. And people who've been showing me, hey, shout out to you too. You help as well in some
Equal
ways.
opportunity. I love it.
Exactly. Just shout out to everyone who's, I don't know. I've been part of your conversation in some kind of way. Thanks.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
All right. Well, folks, thanks for listening to another episode of Gig, Pray, Love. I have been Sam Glazer, and we have been sitting down with Boys versus Girls. And this is the podcast where we talk about getting that gig. You make it happen. You know, you pray that it went well because you worked hard at it. And at the end of the day, you love what you do because otherwise there's no point in doing it.
Facts.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a good one. If you liked this episode of the Gig, Pray, Love cast, please try and find us on any other streaming platforms you haven't found us on already. We are on YouTube. We are currently on a diminished capacity on SoundCloud, but we're doing our best to keep all the episodes coming out on time for everybody. And we really appreciate you listening. So we are on Twitter at GigPray. That's GIGPRAY. Give us a follow on there or find us on Facebook, facebook.com/GigPrayLove. Thanks for your time. Looking forward to having you listen to another new episode real soon. Take care of yourself.